topics?
Sure.
Okay.
On Afghanistan, one more.
Sure.
Earlier today, Russia's presidential envoy for Afghanistan said Russia would no longer consider the Taliban as terrorists and would recognize them as a political force if the Taliban accepted the constitution, ceased hostilities, and cut ties with extremists. And in addition, Russia would want the decision to be approved by Afghan government and UN Security Council. Do you think this is helpful to the reconciliation process?
It's pretty darn near identical to the approach that we've taken with respect to the Taliban. So I certainly wouldn't say it's unhelpful. I mean, we've long said that we're not going to, just by being a member of the Taliban doesn't mean you are in fact a terrorist and therefore are in fact going to be a target of military activity by the Afghan National Security Forces. If you're engaged in acts of terror, if you pose a threat, then obviously you become a legitimate target. So the way you've couched it there, if that's indeed how they have, that's very similar to the approach that we've taken now for about 2 years.
And would you welcome that you and Russia are being more aligned, are in alignment on this? Would you welcome this?
Let me just, rather than welcoming it, I'll just tell you that that is a very similar approach that we have taken now for 2 years, and it certainly is not, if that is in fact their approach, it's not unhelpful to trying to move a political process forward in Afghanistan. But what really matters here is President Ghani and Chief Executive Officer Abdullah and their efforts to try to get at a reconciliation process and their commitment to that, in which they both stated unequivocally when we were in Kabul just a week or so ago. And that's what really matters. That's the opinion, that's the view, that's the perspective that matters the most.
And they said they would want to get approval from the Afghan government and the UN Security Council. Do you think that's an appropriate or necessary process?
I'll let them speak for their views. We've not talked about taking this to the UN Security Council. There's a NATO mission to keep advising and assisting Afghan National Security Forces. There is a U.S. mission there in terms of counterterrorism. That will continue. No decisions have been made yet about the president has decided he's going to get down, he's made the decision of 5,500 by the end of the year, but he's willing to consider views by his military commanders. So, I mean, I think I just leave it at that. I mean, we continue to believe that reconciliation, and we've said this now for a long time, needs to be Afghan-led. Yeah.
Move on. Just